in the hardware. When you create Spot Pass content, your distribution reach will be broad and automatic, like no Nintendo handheld before. Let me also explain the reach of the eShop, a means to access game software in several different ways. First, the existing DSiWare service is included. Second, we'll provide access to selected Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles with the Nintendo 3DS version of the Virtual Arcade. And that library will also include Game Gear and TurboGrafx-16 games. Third, some of your favorite titles from the past, what we're calling 3D classics, will also be available remastered in full 3D. And most importantly, the eShop will feed the game players' need for new titles, both retail and digital. That means trailers, screenshots, background info, and even links to your own websites. In effect, this is a new location for one-stop shopping for both unique and nostalgic game experiences. As we've previously mentioned, not every feature will be available out of the box. Mr. Iwata has announced that the worldwide system update scheduled for late May will deliver many of them. That includes not only the DSiWare download system, but also the ability to transfer your current DSiWare games to Nintendo 3DS. In addition, there'll be a web browser and the eShop. But let me repeat the purpose of all of this. What we're outlining is really an unparalleled ability to promote your work. These new levels of connectivity, new channels for access and delivery, mean millions of consumers will be seeking and finding what you've got to offer them, displayed in full 3D and, of course, in 2D as well. I think that spells win-win for everyone. And with that, let me turn it back over to Mr. Iwata.
Thank you, Reggie. Yes, we really want Nintendo 3DS to be the next must-have. As people have the chance to witness Nintendo 3DS with their own eyes, we are anxious to see how they judge our latest proposal. Reggie just mentioned several new services to be offered on Nintendo 3DS. Now, I'd like to spend some time talking about new games. Earlier, I explained how Nintendo always tries to adopt new elements whenever we introduce new Mario game. For Nintendo 3DS, that process will continue. Let me give one small example. Since 1996, when Mario appeared in 3D in Super Mario 64, it's always been hard for players to judge how to jump and hit a block floating in a 3D space. Watching as Nintendo 3DS was being developed, Mr. Miyamoto told me, finally the day has come when we can solve this. This applies to all movement as players move deeper inside the world or come closer to the screen. Game developers are now able to invent any worlds that we imagine. And this leads to a new Super Mario to debut on Nintendo 3DS. Our team at Nintendo's EAD Tokyo Software Development Department, which created the Super Mario Galaxy series, is currently working on a brand new Super Mario that incorporates the new opportunity of 3D display. This logo is temporary. You may notice something that looks like a tail at the bottom on the logo. You might wonder what that indicates. We will reveal the answer at the E3 this year. So, now that I have talked about Mario, I'm sure some of you may also want to hear about Zelda. First, concerning Ocarina of Time 3D. Our intent is for you to be playing this coming June. 13 years ago, Link began running around a 3D Hyrule world. Now he will be doing it in full 3D. Last year marked the 25th anniversary of Super Mario. This year, it's the 25th anniversary of Legend of Zelda. Mr. Miyamoto is working on a plan that will allow all Zelda lovers to celebrate together. I also want to update you on the new Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword for Wii. Game design has advanced to take further advantage of Wii Motion Plus. As a result, player control is shaping up nicely. It feels very solid and is free-ranging. Nintendo in Japan has sent along some new scenes showing Link in battle. Please take a look. Well, I have spent a lot of your time talking about the last 25 years, and I would like to finish with some thoughts about our future. To be clear, our immediate future. Rather than offer you only a rosy picture of our industry, I want to discuss 3 specific concerns. The first is craftsmanship. Over the past 25 years, we developers have gained a lot, but also lost something. And one major loss is craftsmanship. As projects become bigger and more complicated, often the option of working over and over again to polish a game to make it the highest quality it can be is disappearing. This is not the criticism of the talent of people developing games, but rather the circumstances in which they operate. No matter how much money or manpower is available, no matter how much talent is involved, the needed flexibility may not be available when unexpected development arises. Small details can get lost even in huge projects. My second concern takes me again back to my career at HAL and my early days at Nintendo watching Mr. Miyamoto work. As I said, no one was a specialist. Everyone was a generalist. We could all comprehend what everyone else was doing. To be sure, today there are many people who are better programmers than we were back then, and better artists, better producers. But this era of specialization makes it much more difficult for a single individual to sense the entire nature or personality of a game. Developers know their specific roles much better, but are less able to understand anyone else's. And if people cannot tell exactly what other team members are doing, it makes me wonder, where will the next master game creators come from? My final concern is the most important. When I first spoke at GDC in 2005, very few in the audience were involved making games for mobile download or for social networks. Today, maybe the majority of you are. Our industry has certainly expanded. But it also gives me concern because I fear our business is dividing in a way that threatens the continued employment for many of us who create games for our living. Yes, the developers' hours will always be too long and the stress too high, but until now, there has always been the ability to make a living. Will that still be the case moving forward? Let me share a few numbers. Today in America, there are more than 500 retail games available for PS3, more than 700 for the Xbox 360, and more than 1,000 each for both Wii and Nintendo DS. With so many choices, it is already very challenging to gain enough visibility with the public to achieve true hit status. A few games do become mega hits, but it is not easy. With such competition, even being noticed is extremely difficult. Huge investment promise nothing. Now, consider this. The corresponding number of games available right now to download from the big app sites is in the tens of thousands. Game development is droning. Yes, nearly every one of these downloadable games is far less expensive to create than most retail titles. But what revenue will they generate? Screen Digest reports that among all types of applications downloaded among the leading mobile services last year, 92% were free. And most software which is not free is still being sold at extremely low prices. Why is this happening? To answer, it's necessary to understand two